Hello everyone and welcome to part 13 of F1 Challenge Career Mode. Today we are going to the legendary Monza, the Cathedral of Speed and Ferrari's home circuit. Now of course the car should actually suit this circuit really well from what I've seen before. Yeah, we stuck to Catalonia but we did really well at other power tracks. But I'm now going to hand you over to the commentator.
Just before the free practice session begins, let's take a quick look at the Drivers' Championship. Hakkinen is running away with the Drivers' Championship. Schumacher second. Coulthard third. Well, that covers the drivers. Let's take a quick look at the constructors next. McLaren are running away with the Constructors Championship. Ferrari are second. Williams are third. Located just a few kilometers to the north of Milan, the legendary Monza circuit combines long straights with a mixture of and 90-degree turns. The dedicated motorsports facility is the spiritual home of Italian motor racing and a cathedral for Ferrari and their fanatical fans, the Tifosi.
Right, so we jump into practice and there's only one real highlighter to do a 28.5, which is actually really competitive, which we had a break on the grass, but I managed to recover it. Of course, the first corner is slightly different on this old version of Monza, where you've got a little bit of a right, then a left, then a right again, unlike the current first corner, which is just a right and a left. And you can see there I just took way too much speed because I broke it on the grass. But moving on to qualifying, because I'm trying to shorten practice and qualifying highlights a bit because they're the less desirable part. But you can see that I've gone wide on my first flying lap, so this one's already ruined. And then I have way too much throttle out of Rotilio, I think it's called. And I've hit my rear wing off, so we're going to have to get back in the pits and go round again for another go, which I do later on. And you can see that I'm 7/10 up. I'm currently in third place. So this looks to be an absolutely amazing lap. We're going to Parabolica. I've actually geared this car especially. I had to use the setup thing. The AI seems to be a lot faster than me in a straight line, the same as Spa. But we're going to go to the line, and what's the time going to be? Currently 28.2 for pole. We've done a 28.6. It's an amazing time there. And we're now going to make a mistake into the first corner. That's an amazing time. We might even grab pole position with that as I hand you over to the grid.
Hello there. Welcome to Italy for round 13 of the 1999 FIA Formula One World Championship. The weather, as so often is the case here, is just wonderful. The Williams driver starts his race from first. Michael Schumacher second. David Coulthard third. Mika Hakkinen fourth. Ralf Schumacher couldn't quite match the pace of his teammate. He starts fifth. Rubens Barrichello failed to get anywhere near the pace of his championship rival, the Williams driver. Hill seventh. Trulli eighth. Ricardo Zonta ninth. Fisichella 10th. Eddie Irvine 11th. Jacques Villeneuve 12th. Tora Takagi 13th. Alesi 14th. Johnny Herbert 15th. Mark Genet 16th. Heinz-Harald Frentzen 17th. Wirtz 18th. Panis 19th. Pedro de la Rosa 20th. Pedro Diniz 21st. Uka Badoa 22nd.
We move on to the race. We are starting in pole position here for the Italian Grand Prix. We have the lights here in Monza. And we are using launch control again. We've got a very poor start. The McLaren there getting an excellent start. But we're down into 5th place, side by side with our teammate into the first corner. First corner, we need to be careful on the brakes here. Mika Hakkinen, hit Mika Hakkinen. He's off. Is he going to hit us on the way back? No, somehow we don't have more contact. And we are both through the first few turns. But we're looking at him into the next corner. I used to know the names of these corners, but I've completely forgotten them now. But that doesn't matter now because we're looking at Mika Häkkinen. We're in a slipstream. Can we get him down the inside? No, he's gone defensive. Can we try around the outside? No, there's no space. Will we get the drive out of this corner? We do have quite a good run at Mika Häkkinen. Are we going to have a look into the first Lesmo? Oh, I don't think we can get round there. No, Mika Häkkinen keeps the position as we now look at a replay of the start. You can see the McLaren, I think, of David Coulthard getting a stunning start and going up into first place. And of course, we're side by side with our teammate going into turn 1 when Mika Häkkinen brakes really, really early due to being behind Michael Schumacher. We hit him, but somehow he doesn't crash into us on the way back into the circuit. And of course, I'm then looking at him into the next chicane. But so that start was a bit ordinary. At least I didn't get hit by anyone. But this circuit I'm especially enjoying here. I have got a pit stop planned. I only have 13 laps of fuel, but you can see that into the second chicane I could have had a look there and did try around the outside, but there was no way through. No corner cutting on this. There's not really opportunities to corner cut. But you can see there that I try going down the inside because otherwise it gives you a penalty or a warning if you corner cut. But moving on to lap 3, we are still behind Mika Häkkinen. We've pulled a little bit of a gap to our teammate in 5th place. But look, we can maybe have a look at Mika Häkkinen here. We do. We go down the inside. It's a very, very late move there. We realised that Mika Häkkinen broke really early, so that's a really easy move. And you can see there, it was really late. Nearly lost control of the car on the way in. Mika Häkkinen actually cut the corner, and we are through to 3rd place. And now on lap 6, because we're literally just sitting behind them doing exactly the same pace. We may even have a look at Michael Schumacher into the first turn. Can we get Michael Schumacher for 2nd place in this Grand Prix? We're going down the inside, a little bit of left, a little bit of a right, and we are past Michael Schumacher up into 2nd place with David Coulthard in 1st, who's the slowest of us 4. I'm pretty confident. Mika Häkkinen is usually the faster one of the McLarens, and you can see here that it was a really easy move on the replay, and there I was through from Michael Schumacher. Of course, he then stuck right behind me for the rest of this stint, and we're behind David Coulthard here because we need to pass him. We're finding it difficult to pass him because it's lap 11 now. We've been behind him for like 4 laps and we still haven't passed him. But we may have a look into the first Lesmo. We do. We kind of outbrake ourselves, and it looks like David Coulthard's going to hold it around the outside. Yes, he does. Maybe in 2nd Lesmo. Can we have a look? No, he's really early on the brakes, and we've smashed into the back of him. Hopefully we don't hit the wall here, otherwise we might lose our rear wing or damage our suspension. But David Coulthard is now out of the race with no rear wing. Rubens Barrichello has passed, our championship rival who won in Spa. And that's a disastrous thing to happen. And you can see here that I had a really good run out of the chicane. I was really close to him, and I had a look into the first Lesmo, but unfortunately I just, I cocked it up and it didn't work properly. So then into the 2nd Lesmo, I actually outbroke myself and hit the back of David Coulthard, and I went flying across the gravel trap, and I lost a few positions, and of course I'm going to have to pit on this lap. Luckily it wasn't too far away from my normal pit stop lap, but you can watch it here from the onboard of David Coulthard. He actually broke really early from the corner, and of course I smashed into the back of him, and that allowed Michael Schumacher and Mika Häkkinen through as we go into our pit. Very disappointing to have a crash, because it may mean that we would get no points in this race. But of course, a normal pit stop now, I think we got 15 laps of fuel instead of 13 laps, which I was planning on, so we would have gone for a few more laps. But it looks like we're fueled up and ready to go. And we are currently down in 7th with Eddie Irvine 12 seconds ahead of us. Oh, looks like a bunch of cars are going past. We're down to 11th. And looks like John Alazy is going to get past, and Johnny Herbert. So we're down to 13th after our pit stop. So now this is going to have to be a really good comeback to get any points during this Grand Prix. But we've already caught up Johnny Herbert and the Sauber of John Alazy on lap 12. And we're looking around the outside of Johnny Herbert. We've got him really easily. Can we have a look at John Alazy into the first corner? We're going down the inside of the Sauber. We're going side by side, and we are through. Pretty easy move, and I think even Johnny Herbert has mugged John Alazy as well. So looking at the replay here, I just slipstreamed Johnny Herbert, went side by side, and I had the straight line speed over that Stewart, and then I went down the inside of John Alazy, and it seems like John Alazy actually went on the grass there, which allowed Johnny Herbert past. But Johnny Herbert isn't a threat to me in this Grand Prix as I look forwards to the next bunch of opponents. And you can see they'll caught up to Jacques Villeneuve on lap 14, straight down the inside, easy move, and we've now got this trail of cars. Frentzen, I think Alexander Wirtz, and we're here on lap 14, and we might have a go at Frentzen into the first corner like we did with John Alazy. We've got the slipstream. Are we going to go around the outside? Yes, we are. But we've got the Benetton there. We need to be careful. We've completely outbroken ourselves. We've nearly hit the back of the BAR. We've cut across the grass. We're going to have to let them all back through again. because that was an awful mistake. But then later on lap 15, of course, now going on to lap 16, going round Parabolica, we are very close to Frenton, very, very close to Frenton, and we're going to pass him down the main pit straight. Going right beside him, we've got the straight line speed because we're slipstreaming Fisichella, not Verts. And will we have him into the first corner? We go down the inside. The BAR gets very close. We're going to try down the inside of the BAR. No, Ricardo's on to hold it. Ricardo's on to in a points position. Now something happened to Michael Schumacher, because I could have sworn Ricardo Zonta was actually in 7th place. But we're now in 7th place, and we're now looking at Ricardo Zonta into the second chicane. Can we get him? We're going to go down the inside, same as his teammate, and that's going to be a pretty simple move in the end. But I think we're now going to have a look at what happened to Michael Schumacher. So he was driving along normally when a Minardi, I think a Mark Genet, pulls out the pits and there's a huge accident. Michael Schumacher's lost a wheel, the Minardi's lost a wheel, and then Mika Hakkinen hits them. So that's a huge accident. And the two leaders are out. Of course, Mika Hakkinen, I think, can carry on, but he's going to have a pit stop for the front wing change. But you can see that he just pulls out of the white line, and that's a huge accident to happen. Of course, Mika Hakkinen loses his front wing. But you can see here that on lap 17, we are going in 6th place, and Hakkinen has actually come out of the pits just there, half a second ahead. But the problem is Mika Hakkinen is the fastest guy on this game, so it's going to be very difficult to pass it, and then we may be able to get past here with the back marker of the arrows. Can we get past him into the first Lesmo? Nope. It's caused us to go deep, the arrows, where he positioned his car, and he's actually come back straight at us, and then he slowed down right in front of us, so we've lost a lot of time. Now, I thought that might have been it for us, because Mika Hakkinen was matching our pace and being, if not slightly faster, so I was really worried about catching him. But you can see here that Mika Hakkinen is being held up by a Minardi again. It's obviously the other Minardi of Luca Badoa, and we could even have a look at him into the Curva Grande. Yes, Mika Hakkinen's going slow, and we are past and through into 4th place with Rubens Barrichello in 3rd, and surprisingly our teammate is leading the Grand Prix with Damon Hill in 2nd due to all the accidents which have happened in this Grand Prix. But you can see here Mika Hakkinen is just getting held up a treat by Luca Badoa, and then I see an opportunity, go down the inside, and I am through, and then Mika Hakkinen continues to get held up all the way throughout Curva Grande. The AI having a bit of a spaz moment after I overtook. But you can see here on the penultimate lap that Mika Hakkinen's going to have a look at us into Parabolica around the outside. We're going to try and shut the door on the outside by going a little bit wide, and it looks like we have shut the door. So we might be under pressure for this last lap. But you can see here into Parabolica that he had a chance around the outside, but I literally just then parked it on the apex so he couldn't cut back on me. But going to the line, we are going to get a 4th place this Grand Prix, a pretty good comeback. I'd really like if this video managed to hit 40 likes. That was a really fun race to do, and I love Monza. But our teammate gets 1st place, so that's an amazing result for Williams. Damon Hill finishes literally just behind him, you can see there, and Rubens Barrichello unfortunately finishes 3rd, and of course he's our championship rival, so he does still gain points over us. But we do gain a lot of points over Stewart. But with our teammate winning, we have underperformed really at this Grand Prix, and now hand you over to the results.
After that fantastic Italian Grand Prix, let's take a look at the final results. Schumacher 1st. Damon Hill 2nd. Rubens Barrichello 3rd. The Williams driver 4th. Hakkinen 5th. Irvine 6th.
Yep, so you can see the results. Eddie Irvine picking up another important point. 1 point for Ferrari here at Monza. Jarno Trulli didn't start. He had a clutch problem. And of course Mark Genet and Michael Schumacher crashed. And of course I crashed into David Coulthard, being the only retirements in this Grand Prix. But we've scored 4th place, which has given us a decent amount of points. So we can be happy. And as we look at the driver's standings.
With the results confirmed, it's high time we updated the Drivers' Championship. Hakkinen moves further ahead in the Drivers' Championship.
Yep, so looking at the driver's standings, of course, our teammate suddenly jumps up to being right behind us. He is 2 points behind us now, which is a real concern. Rubens Barrichello is 9 points ahead of us, and Rubens Barrichello is very close to David Coulthard, only 3 points away. So that could get very interesting here. Our teammate could still beat us this season, unfortunately. It looked a bit unlikely earlier.
McLaren move further ahead at the top of the Constructors' Championship. Ferrari are 2nd, whilst 3rd place is held by Williams.
Yep, so in the Constructors we have caught up a lot to Ferrari, so that is important. We could still have them at the end of the season if me and Ralph perform, but I really hope this video gets good response. Comment in the comments, whatever you want to do, about how you felt the race went, because I thought that was awesome. But next race, is the European Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, and I'll see you there. Goodbye.